Hello, friends. Crystal here, your Vibrant BF, and we are back with our seventh and final chakra, the Crown Chakra. In Sanskrit, it is Sahasrara, meaning 1,000 folds, like the lettuce petals, or infinite. This is the thought, the consciousness, knowing, transcendence, meditation. This crown chakra is a few inches above the head. We are talking about cosmic consciousness. It rules the pituitary gland. It's ruled by Uranus. It controls our central nervous system. So we come out of the gate with it talking about the nervous system. We have been moving up each of these chakra for the last several weeks and how they make a beautiful dance together, that being our chakra system and our nervous system. This is what connects us to divine intelligence and the source of our manifestations. Now, there's a quote that says, "The universe is just the way we think it is." And that's why. And that's by John Woods. We are going to be talking about this crown chakra, this cosmic consciousness. It's basically the connection of our higher self. Now, we have moved from the roots of earth chakra and we've gone through each of the elements. We've moved through water, fire, air, sound, light, and now we are at the source of all consciousness. Now, remember, each of these chakras are not necessarily dependent or independent, they are interdependent upon each other. They are each vibrating at different frequencies, wavelengths, vibrations, levels of consciousness. And now we have arrived at our highest source. Now, don't think that the root chakra, that is rooted and grounded on earth, is necessarily so much different than that of our crown chakra, because we need both to kind of create a beautiful balance between the two. That's how we actually bring in things of the etheric realm into the conscious realm. We have to find that balance between both of those. So when we think about this seventh chakra, remember we have our big, beautiful board here going through all the things. We are going to think about the color violet. It's sometimes considered white as well. And this is where creation begins with conception. So this is all about the mind. We are going to start conceiving things in the mind, then it descends through the chakras into the actual manifestation. So conception gives us pattern, and manifestation feels it with substance and giving it form. So the pattern implies the order. Now, the seventh chakra relates to what we experience in the mind. So basically, our mind is playing out this level of consciousness, right? Is it of tragedy or comedy or excitement or boredom? And through watching this play that we have in our minds, we start to assimilate experiences. And these experiences, we start to give meaning. And the meaning that we give these experiences leads to our belief systems, which are the master programs for our reality. Because what we believe to be, we perceive things to be, right? What we perceive, we believe, what we believe, we perceive, and we're going to give evidence of whatever that is that we're focusing on and thinking, and that's how it is, and that's because of this. So through the crown chakra, we reach into the infinite body of information and we run it through the chakras to bring in recognition as well as manifestation. So the Sahasrara is the furthest removed from the material world, right? When the material world, we're talking about space and time. We are not dealing with any of that when we are dealing with the seventh chakra, the crown chakra. It's allows us to have the greatest versatility. It gives us infinite possibilities. Remember the thousandfold lotus petals, which metaphorically means infinite. We're dealing with things well outside of the realm of time and space. And so it helps us to have a greater scope of any of all these chakras, which leads to more liberation, right? It's the freedom. It's the master processor of all of our awareness. So when beliefs are held by large numbers of people, for example, it um, creates a very strong field for those beliefs, good or bad. And the stronger those field is, it lessens the chance of survival of opposing beliefs. So if you, for example, we can use religion. So if you have a very strong belief that it's only a man and a woman, and they have to be married to have children, etc., then that is going to be your belief. You're going to hold strong. You're going to create your systems and world around this play, this consciousness that you create. And if you get enough people believing that this is just how it is, it's going to be harder for those to say, well, I don't necessarily believe in just that type of union. I believe there's all types of families and you can have families in all types of ways. It's going to be harder because there's so much coming from this level. Now, the very act of thinking is the process of following lines of order. So, as we are the vehicles of consciousness, our natural inclination is to explore that information, to use it, to manifest it. Because the ultimate level of manifestation here in our 3D realm is of a material sense. So, we can touch it, we can feel it, we can live it, we can enjoy it. So, if we're operating in this sense of like how we're bringing this consciousness into form, however, though we do need to see it and touch it and feel it, it's also one of the most limiting because it has to operate within the governed and space and time of realm, right? Which limits what it can do. It's the densest. Earth is very dense. And so it's hard to be able to play in the infinite, which allows for lots more possibilities and diversity. So the nature of consciousness is to both manifest and to liberate. So finding this balance of our root chakra, right, bringing it into the real here and now, but also being able to live in the crown space to think of infinite possibilities and kind of have those two marry together is the ultimate goal. So each chakra is a manifestation of consciousness, right? At different layers of reality. So we talked about earth being at its densest, and seventh chakra is basically there is no limits of time and space. So we have to ask ourselves, what is consciousness? What is its purpose? And how do I tap into it? This is what the seventh chakra is about. So you've got cognitive consciousness and transcendent consciousness. So the cognitive consciousness is of a lower, more organizing of the finite bits of detail into larger structures, right? That's the material that's more dense. And then you have the transcendent consciousness, which is a world of things and a realm beyond, right? This right here, the things we have, relationships we have. And it floats kind of in this meta awareness, encompassing all things simultaneously. So if you've ever seen the movie um, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which basically gives infinite possibilities, back to the lotus petals, infinite, thousandfolds, living in the metaverse, being able to be governed by infinite possibilities and play and creation outside of space and time. So now, as we talked about our master programs, right, of our reality, which is our beliefs and these experiences and how we label these different experiences, we are going to start building like this personal matrix for ourselves. Now, this is information that we have in our minds. And then we spend our lives trying to piece together some sense of order of what we see, why we see it, what does it mean? And enlightenment is this progressive understanding of even greater wholeness. So, in these holographic, like matrix paradigms that we create, it allows for more information and more clarity the more we start opening ourselves up and tapping into this seventh chakra of infinite possibilities and expansion and awareness and transcendence. And we're going to do all this through meditation. So when we share feedback and you hear feedback, you'll run that piece of information like through your data, right? Against the background, about against experience, against the paradigms and the programmings, your belief systems. And then you take it and say, okay, this doesn't fit. So you just disregard it altogether, or I don't believe that, right? So how do we get from that of like, that doesn't fit inside of my model of reality, that doesn't fit inside my mold? And how do we get to the process of being able to take in new information and actually apply it? So the first thing is understanding one of the traps of the mind is this question: how do we take in new information? If we're constantly setting up these matrix, these paradigms, these holograms, these programs, most of being limiting beliefs, fear based, fitting within time and space continuum, small, limited thinking. So when we are getting this new information, how do we have it fit, right? How does it fit into these programs and paradigms? And then how do we decide and discern, is this truth or is this fiction? You know, one of the best ways that we are able to start to grow into our consciousness and really start tapping into the seventh chakra, our crown chakra, is through meditation. Because meditation is what allows the mind to kind of sort through all the data and the discord and discard all the outdated beliefs, systems, personal matrix, things that aren't necessarily true, but are being governed by space and time here, by different experiences that we've given certain titles and names to. And the thing with meditation too is it allows for us to basically clear out, like defragging a hard drive. So it removes us from being overwhelmed or getting lost in the infinite, but allows for more room for us to operate and take in the new information, to assimilate it and record it without crashing out. Um, so as we move through our experiences and we are um, building up our matrix, um, and we're giving order to these things that we're taking in, this information we're taking in, enlightenment is progressive. It's going to start unfolding in a greater wholeness for us, right? So our matrix also structures are created by how we derive these experiences. Because we have to understand everything we believe and we hold to be true as our belief systems. We're going to give evidence of that, right? We're going to find other people to fortify that idea. I go back to religion itself. So if you're sitting around with other people who are of the same faith, of course, they're going to give you back that feedback and assurance that, yes, you are right. Yes, this is how things are done. Yes, this is appropriate. No, that's bad. And you're going to find more people to give you that evidence. But once you start moving out and getting curious of, okay, this doesn't necessarily fit into my paradigm realm now, but I just heard something and I don't necessarily want to reject it. So how do I actually get it in to see if it is something I want to start to explore and to start building out a new matrix, a new paradigm, a new belief system, a way of thinking outside of this 3D realm of space and time. So, um, so for example, somebody who's always thinking that, there are no good men, say if they're a single woman or a man, and they're like, there's no good men, they all are dogs, they all cheat. You absolutely are going to find evidence of that because that is where you're giving your energy, thoughts, processes to. If you think that, oh my God, I am always so lucky, I always get things, I always win at concerts, I always win at contests, I always get whatever I want, I'm always in the right place at the right time, I meet the coolest people, guess what? Then that is the evidence that you're going to start living in as well. So, um, the biggest thing you want to take away from this crown chakra is that it's the point of finite and infinite, of mortal and divine, of temporal and timeless. It's where divine consciousness enters the body. So, right through here, right? This is why meditation is so important. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And we need to cultivate both currents. So, we have the ascending, which is liberating us, which ether the chakra, it's getting less and less dense, right? Until we get to the seventh. And then, as well as descending and manifesting it, because we can't just live in the clouds, we can't just live in the ethers, we have to live in our actual bodies too. Our actual bodies need food and rest and shelter. Remember, our survival, our root. But we don't want to get so caught and stuck in just having our basic needs, human flesh 3D needs met. We also want to be able to expand our brains and minds and consciousness to take in new information, to assimilate, to grow our consciousness, and to live in a more whole state, right? Being able to take in infinite possibilities and allowing ourselves to play and be liberated with the infinite diversity of the universe. So we have this ascending and descending, these currents that are moving through our bodies that are all working together to expand us, to grow us, and to allow us to live in our highest consciousness, to live in our highest timeline. And this is done by meditation. So, like I said, meditation allows the mind to kind of sort through all the data and discard things that are not of our highest alignment, that are outdated, that are limited, etc. So think of meditation as a cleansing of the mind. We wash our bodies, we wash our cars, we clean our houses, but a lot of times we're not clearing out the thoughts in our mind, the patterning, the programs, the holograms, the plays that are playing, and the experiences that we've given these different examples aren't necessarily true. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but we are giving ourselves time to cleanse it and actually check it. So when we are cleansing the mind through our thoughts, it helps to also align our chakras internally, right? So our mind, body, and thoughts can all be in coherence, which allows for more alignment. And when we're in more alignment, we can gain more clarity. One of the best meditations for this is what's called transcendental meditation. It's basically meditating for 20 minutes a day, twice a day. It's sitting very quietly and internally uttering a mantra to yourself. And this is just one of the meditations you can do. There's so many, and I highly encourage you to find one that works for you, whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. Don't get caught up on the time, but just allow yourself to clear the clutter, to clear the mind, to have a refresh, to open up your consciousness, to allow for your crown chakra to thrive and to grow, and to allow your body to be in coherence, which allows your nervous system, because remember, the crown chakra is rolling our central nervous system. So finding out which meditation feels good to you, which feels most aligned to you, is going to allow for more coherence, not just in the body, but in the mind and the infinite possibilities that we live in. So a lot of people don't do this because you're like, if it's so great and it allows for so much clarity and it allows for our crown chakra to really thrive, why aren't more people doing this? Well, in a world where we are mostly really focused on the lower three chakras, it's hard. It's like, get our needs met, let's enjoy ourselves, and, have some creative expression and fun. That's it. And we forget about the other levels that we want to transcend and move through. So it actually, becomes more of like, another thing to do. And now I need to add meditation. But when you get to a space of understanding how meditation is not a chore, so to speak, it's a state of mind, and it's not of something you have to like effort. It's something you get to do. It's not something you have to do. It's actually an honor to be able to defrag your programming and to open yourself up to higher states of awareness, consciousness, ease, expansion, growth, better ways to learn how to manifest, right? To bring into the 3D, to think of infinite ways of doing something, moving out of these very structured, limited by space and time, and moving into the ethers, moving into infinite possibilities, allows for greater play, greater expansion, greater awareness, and greater levels of you, fuller levels of you, whole levels of you. So let's chat a little bit about some of the manifestation techniques that you can do. So one of them is called following your thoughts. You can Google all of these. Another one is Journey to the Akashic Records, which again, you can look this up as well. It's also really great to do if you have a mentor, a coach, or a teacher to help you walk through this. And of course, the different types of meditation, transcendental meditation, breath work, all these things to help you get more coherence in the body, mind, spirit. This concludes the 7 chakras. You'll see me next week giving a full breakdown of each of these chakras to kind of tie everything together and how we can really integrate, because we take in all the information. Just like I was sharing about the meditation, we know many people know that meditation is great for you, but they feel like it's another chore, another should. But we're going to shift that programming and rewire our minds to be excited that we get to. So I am so excited that you have been able to travel with me through the chakra system and how it helps to build a stronger nervous system, because it is our nervous system that is the root of our growth, our expansion, and our life. Be sure to drop in the comments what chakra speaks most to you, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.